Sir.
Word. All right, everybody. Welcome back to the Spread the Positive podcast. It has been a hot second. It's really good to be back on this side of the microphone talking to one of my friends and just a up and coming superstar, man. It's an honor to have my guy Chase McDaniel in the building. How are you, sir?
I'm good. That's the undeserving introduction, I do believe.
Nah,
Thank
man.
you.
So yeah, dude. A lot. So we did the Nash Vegas podcast several months ago.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of things have changed since then, it sounds like. So I always like to take it back to young Chase. I know we did that on the on the other podcast, man. But I've gotten the cliff notes, man. So let's tell the audience your whole story. You got an incredible story. It's super inspiring. Sure. Very STP in nature, man. So just wanted to let's take it all the way back, man. What were you into as a kid?
Oh, man.
All of that, dude.
Oh, wow. All right. Let's see if I warmed up for childhood Chase. I have therapy on Thursday, so I should get this stuff ready for it.
I should have cliff noted that one too.
Let me think. Where are we starting? What's the timeline here? You said as a kid. I mean, I grew up in Kentucky in a poor town. And I like to say that we were poor to the poor people in that poor town.
Oh, wow.
So grew up in a house. I have 7 siblings total.
Wow.
And I'm the oldest of all of them. And that came with everything that you could expect it coming with, I guess. A lot of good times too, I mean, I talk about a lot of things that impacted me, but there were good times amongst that. I was very fortunate to have good friends.
Nice.
And I was really into sports.
Right.
From
Kentucky kid basketball, right? That's a given.
Well, unfortunately, I sucked at basketball, dude.
So you were into it, right?
I was into it. Yeah, I loved to play basketball, but I scored 2 points my whole career. I just had no aim.
You're music, man. That's why you do music.
I remember I had like a fast break once, and I like shot a layup and literally shot it over the hoop. Like,
boy. Okay.
Yeah, it was bad. And then one time, a kid like blocked me so hard that it went into the bleachers and hit another kid in the face. Like, that's how bad at basketball I was.
Okay.
But I was
stick to music.
Yeah. Well, I was good at football. I was good at football and baseball. Okay. I don't know what it was. I was left-handed.
Oh, nice.
So that had a couple of like issues that went with it too. So like I said, grew up in a poor town. We didn't have access to like custom things. So I was left-handed. I always had a right-handed baseball glove.
Okay.
I didn't like actually get to use my left hand until I was in high school.
Oh my gosh.
So I played catcher in baseball, and I played with my right hand.
Wow.
I remember, I think it was my 7th or 8th grade year. My grandparents surprised me with like a left-handed glove that they had ordered out of like it was like a Hibbets or H&W sports magazine. And man, you'd have thought that I met Santa Claus. It was just like, wow, like the first time I put on that glove and actually got to throw somebody out with my left hand. it was incredible. Like,
wait, you would throw people out with your right hand?
Yeah.
You would?
Well, I tried.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, sometimes
that's incredible.
I did learn to be pretty ambidextrous that way.
Man.
But I always, wrote in school with my left hand, did everything with my left hand. But in sports, obviously with baseball, I just had to use my right.
Wow.
So I can do a lot of things now with my right hand. I can
You're
bat
pretty
right-handed.
much ambidextrous.
Yeah.
You have to be at that point.
Golf right-handed. Actually, I play guitar right-handed. And I don't know, and that's another thing. Like, we didn't have left-handed guitars. For all I know, I could have been a killer machine, like just go on a left-handed guitar. But because I learned right-handed, I'm very adequate.
Wow, man. So still to this day, you just play right?
Still to this day, I play right.
Wow.
I've never even picked up a left-handed guitar. Wow. I imagine it would feel foreign at this point.
Oh,
it would have to. I've played for 12 years like this. Right. So, but yeah, there was no such thing as like a left-handed guitar in Greensburg, Kentucky. Hey. And if there was, I didn't see one on Facebook Marketplace back then. So,
back in the day. All right. So so all of that to say, you got into music, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I got into music. A lot of different roads led to this. And now at this point in my life, I always struggle with insecurity so much because music was I connected to music in a way that felt different.
Yeah.
Because I connected to sports. I connected to school even sometimes. You know, I was president of the science club my senior year of high school.
Nice.
I was horrible. I was a really bad science club president. But I didn't take us on any trips.
Oh.
No trips.
Okay. Didn't hit the aquarium or
anything? No aquarium, no zoo. Like everyone was like, hey, we voted you in. They were very disappointed.
Hey, can't win them all. It's all right.
And but yeah, so what was I talking about before science
I don't
club?
know. Oh, music and things leading up.
Music. And so I connected to music in a different way. I realized that very young. I was good at sports, and honestly I was better at sports than I ever was music.
Wow. Okay.
But I connected to it differently, and I knew that in my heart. I had two influences on both sides of my family. My grandfather, who was my dad's dad, was a bass singer in a gospel quartet.
Okay.
And so I would travel around with them as a kid in this white van with a trailer attached to the back of it. And I would watch him and his group sing gospel songs, and he would sing the low part down here.
Oh.
And and he was my hero. So I just had this fascination with bass voices, like low male voices.
That's dope.
And you know, I remember when the Josh Turner record came out. That was my very first album that I ever owned, was Josh Turner's Long Black Train. And my great grandfather on my mom's side was the other key piece to like what led me into music, because I would stay at his house sometimes during the week. And I remember he made these amazing scrambled eggs.
Nice.
Like, just you know how everybody kind of has that thing. Like my grandpa made scrambled eggs that were out of this world.
That's awesome.
And to this day I can't do it like he did. I've tried. But he would incessantly play the Grand Ole Opry Channel. And he had an obsession with like George Jones and Ricky Skaggs and some of those old bluegrass sounds.
Nice.
And he thought Josh Turner was like a modern take on that bluegrass, but like the low kind of the low side of that. And so he got me that record and asked me to learn Long Black Train to sing it at one of our family get-togethers. And I was like 9. I had no bass in my voice at all.
Right.
But I fell in love with it. You know, it was the first piece of music that I could call mine. You know, it was mine. And I had this little CD player, and man, I feel so connected to that kid right now talking about this, but I played that CD so much that the words just were gone off the top of the CD. It had spun so much in the little CD player, just had completely faded. You couldn't even see where the tracks were or anything. I played that thing straight through so many times.
Salute to Josh Turner, man.
Yeah, really.
That's awesome.
And you know, and growing up, I felt such a connection to that music that when I first started to sing and do things like that, that was like the only music that I would do. People would have said that I was like the Josh Turner impersonator in Greensburg, Kentucky.
9 years old?
Not a 9. I mean, like later. You know, it was a decade passed, and my voice dropped, and my teachers were like, "Oh, well, who's talking now?" But yeah, I sang "Baby Lock Them Doors Down Low" for about 6 years before I learned any other songs.
Man. That's amazing.
But yeah, you know, that granddaddy just wanted, he knew in his heart somehow, he saw something in me, and he said, "You're going to be a country music star one day." That's so sad. And I want you to believe it, and I want you to practice, and I want you to do this. And there were these like talent shows, and he would push me to do them, and he would put my name in, and I'd say, "No, I don't want to do it," and he'd do it behind my back.
Dude, that's awesome.
And he got me my first gig. It was a little kind of like a small town Opry type thing, and I remember man, what was it called? Lincoln Jamboree in Hodgeville, Kentucky, and they'd pay you $50 to sing for 4 hours. And and I was 15, and in order to do it, you had to go and you had to sing for the guy who put the show on. And my great granddaddy, he told me, he said, "Sing 'em Folsom Prison Blues" by Johnny Cash. And Johnny Cash was another one that I just absolutely fell in love with. And so I sang Folsom Prison Blues. They had this little talent show there, and I hit that low E note. I was 15 years old, and they let me win the talent show somehow. Wow. And so then after that, I got to be on the roster every weekend.
Yeah.
And that was my first chance at like seeing how much like just my first chance being on stage and singing and everything. And so music was a part of me. Even this sounds strange, but it connected me in just so many dimensions.
Yeah.
Just multi-dimensional. Just the blood part of it, where my family was so involved, and you know, they were into music, and also, you know, my dad's dad, grandpa, he was a pastor of a church. And you know, I didn't have a lot of, you know, like a normal family growing up, and you know, I'm sure we'll talk about that tonight too. And so it was, I struggled to like find like male role models that just, I don't know, felt safe and secure. And but my grandpa was that. Exactly. And you know, he really stepped into my life around the time I was 12. And he would take me out to the church with him, and we would just practice singing for hours.
Nice.
And he would just say, "Hey, when you do this, try doing this like this, or try singing this vowel like this, or I think this song will fit your voice. Why don't you practice that?" And he would just listen.
Man, and man, that's powerful.
And nobody, I think every kid needs that time from an adult, you know? Every kid needs that time. And he stepped up and, you know, was a man about things, and just was there to offer his ear, his wisdom, and you know, just his presence. And so he was my hero in every sense of the word. And so music to me just meant connection. It really just meant connection.
Man, that's deep. That's deep root. I mean, that's powerful, man. I feel that in my soul. Like, I feel the way you're speaking about that. Like, that's man, that got me.
That's
powerful.
It's been a really cool journey. And all of the guys that I listened to growing up, and even now, you know, I think I found connections through their songs and things like that too. Everything okay? Okay. Oh, okay. Okay.
The old one-man production crew here, man. Sorry about that. Nah, dude, that's beautiful, man. And I remember when we were first talking, or the first interview, and just you hearing your story and the passion. And obviously, I mean, from my perspective, the hurt, you know, like there's some pain there, man. And it's really inspiring in a lot of ways, the way you carry yourself and the way you use that passion and that pain to make some incredible music for people that can like really benefit from it, and probably in similar situations a lot of times. So man, like that's what it's all about, right?
Thank you for that, man. I remember when we first did the first podcast that you know, you were so, you know, positive, and you know, you really like encouraged me to share my story, and I appreciate that, you know. Because I'll be honest, man, I'm at a point in my life now where being vulnerable is difficult. Because I kind of went through phases when I got into my 20s. I was at a point where I was in so much pain, where like but also I was quiet because there was this tough guy mentality. You know, I would
out of necessity.
I would rather have died and
than be vulnerable,
than have anybody like have my reputation ruined. And I actually considered that, you know, and it's crazy to think about that now. But then I went through a phase where, you know, so many people surrounded me and were like, "No, we're gonna help this."
It's not an option.
And I shared for the first time, and then I think I got addicted to sharing. You know, and I was maybe a little too open,
man. That's okay.
Because I was like, "Oh my god, like this feels great."
It's
just
liberating.
Get this off my chest.
1000%. No shame in that game, dude.
And I found just so much healing in not being alone.
1000%.
Because man, I think I know it's universal, this pain that we'll go into to discuss. But I think specifically in our culture with how we raise young men, and how we're taught to just be tough, man. And we really don't have groups of guys like it's not really customary yet in like guy culture to like share your problems with your bros, you know.
I think we're getting better.
I think we're getting a lot better, man. I think we're getting a lot better. I wonder how it is like, you know, in my hometown and everything, and if because you know, like growing up, we had some like heart to hearts, but they were different than the ones that I have now. You know, they would have been about like, oh, I hope our football team goes to state. You know, and what happens if we don't? Are we still going to be friends? That kind of stuff. Now it's like it's different. There's a different vulnerability there, and I think there's a difference in like sharing to share, like out of like there's a way that you can be open and share and actually protect yourself from being vulnerable.
Right.
And so that's what I try to avoid now. So that when I share with boundaries, but also I'm sharing in a way that I'm actually being vulnerable and I'm connecting to the person across from me or whoever's listening. And so I have, you know, taken a step back from just like vomiting out some of those things that I went through, because I want to share specific things that I feel like could be helpful and also that I'm truly connected to.
Right.
And maybe that's a part of my growth. But that being said, it's I'm going through a period of being vulnerable, scary again.
Yeah, and that's part of it, man.
Yeah,
like, there's levels to all this stuff, dude. Like it's and having, I mean, I just salute you again, man. Like full disclosure, I had a very different upbringing. You know, like I can't fully relate to that in a lot of ways. So like when people do open up and share that, like that's very personal to me, and I take pride in even being around it. And like I just want to, speak your truth, be part of, or and I'm here for you. I mean, I'm sure your boys are, whoever is your girl, all the people, but like being self-aware the way you are is special, man. So like
I appreciate that. I have struggled, I think, because of my lack of vulnerability most of my life to find my people.
Right. And it didn't sound like you had much of a pool to pick from, like and that's tough, man.
And I'm trying to embrace this thing now where it's like, how could I ever find my people if I stay inside?
Man,
how can I ever find them? How could they find me?
Yeah.
How will they know that I'm here if I stay silent?
Facts.
And I've only got so much time on this earth, and time is my most valuable thing that I like prioritize. It's my most important thing that I have, is just this little space in between the time that I was born and the time that I leave.
I think that's the truth.
And I just want to do something that matters with that.
Man, feel that, dude.
So, I think people, I think about this all the time. I think about that kid, me, in his bedroom upstairs, just completely concealed in his headphones and being, overwhelmed with things that he couldn't process at a young age. And I think about what he needed. And then I think, when it hit me again in my 20s and I was in the darkest place of my life, after, I had lost my dad, and how that just totally, reshaped my worldview. I think about what I needed. And, I know that I needed to not feel alone. That was definitely a piece. I know that I also needed hope, because I think there was a time when hope had vanished, and it was like, wow, there's nothing there to look for. I just completely dreaded my existence,
man. Yeah.
And it didn't feel good to be alive. There was never a time that, like, I just wanted to die for the sake of dying or whatever like that. It was never that. It was never something that I wanted to do. It was something that I thought was the only way out of my misery. And I think if you ask people who have been suicidal, you ask people who have been to the darkest of the dark places, of that abyss, that's how they felt. It was never like really like, hey, like I'm being selfish or, I don't think enough of you to stick around or anything like that. I was so miserable. I saw no other way.
Yeah.
And I'm so thankful now that wasn't true.
Yeah.
Just because I didn't see another way did not mean that there wasn't another way.
Man, that's true.
It took me sticking around to find all of the ways.
Yeah.
And now, I just thought about this. It might've been 2 days ago. I was laying on the couch and just kind of reflecting because I'd had a bad day. I'd had some anxiety. And I've been really stressed with just everything going on.
You got some big things happening.
Yeah.
Well, I can't wait to get into that. But this is important, man. We got to lay the foundation here because
I feel like my plate's full and I'm struggling to just prioritize everything. Like, it's, and also like direction. Like, I feel like I lack direction a lot of times. Well, is this the next move? Is this the next move? Because, I just want to create something that can impact the most people in the best way.
It's beautiful, man. Yeah,
it has
beautiful.
Nothing to do with like business or growth or fame or money or anything like that. But if I feel like my mission, my message, my purpose of being here is to connect.
Yeah.
And I have that opportunity. That has been just my biggest motivator. And also it can strangle you though too if you're not careful. You have to wrangle it in. But I was thinking the other night about, how I had some anxiety that day, and I thought about, myself at like 21, 22, and I thought, man, he would have killed to just be this anxious.
Oh.
To just be this sad.
Oh, wow.
You know what I mean? Like he would have just dreamed of these problems.
Right. Right.
And
that's powerful, man.
And so I just try to practice gratitude even when it's tough.
Yeah.
Because my lows now aren't that low in terms of it, because I've been to the darkest of the dark, I feel like. And so now when I hit that place, it can take the breath out of you pretty quick. This morning I was like, man, like my mind was racing, but at least it was my voice.
Yeah.
Right. Like I remember a time when it felt like there were 1,000 voices in my head, and I was just like flexing my muscles and punching at the air, and it was like, please make this stop.
Yeah.
I don't know how to turn this off. And this morning it was pretty crazy. Yeah. And I turned on John Mayer, Shadow Days, and within about 20 minutes of that on repeat, it was better than medicine.
That's amazing.
Better than drugs. It was better than anything that could have numbed me. And because of the connection that I felt with John Mayer.
That's amazing.
And it just pulled me out of it. And also I was able to achieve some compassion for that younger version of myself, who was probably still a little bit sad. And that's why I was feeling like that today.
Man.
So it's just so motivating to me to think that I have an opportunity to give somebody else that.
Bro.
And so
that's big.
Yeah.
That's big time, dude. I remember the first time you said, I don't remember exactly how you phrased it, but I remember the way you said, or I just remember the way I interpreted the way you said, like that thing about just wanting to connect with people that might be in a similar spot, and like that was your motivation. I was like, dude, that's when it's real and that it's gonna be something special. So man, and just to on the spread the positive tip, we always, I mean, that honestly, your whole testimony is like why we do this, man. So like it's all fun and games when things are great and everybody's hunky-dory, but like having those tools in the toolbox, like playing John Mayer for 20 minutes is like that's a big thing, man. Like that's one of the things I always I always ask our guests. I'm like what are your tools in the toolbox to like switch it up when you are down and out, when you are feeling anxious, when you are like just upset about whatever. And I think music's one of those that's like universal for all of us that can take us to a better place, you know. So you're spot on, bro. Like I think you're in a really amazing place to do some really powerful things, man. And I remember the first time we talked, I'm like, man, this kid's different. And it's like in the best way possible, you know, like there's it takes one to know one. So there's a lot to celebrate with your story, man. I think I just think it's something to celebrate, dude. But let's get into some of the stuff you got going nowadays, dude.
Yeah, man.
Because or take us. How did you get to Nashville? Let's start there. I got the Cliff Note version, and I know, but the listeners need to know, man. It's an amazing story too.
Appreciate it, man. I'm feeling good tonight. We can go. So
yeah, we'll get this Joe Rogan.
Let's go.
We'll get the Joe Rogan 2.5 or so. We might wrap up around 9:30. There we go. Yeah.
I feel like I'm in good company too.
Man,
so.
For sure.
I feel like we got some things in common here.
Sorry.
So
to the listener, to the viewers, the reason I'm looking backwards is to make sure the cameras are still on. So I'm new to this. So I got one-man production crew.
Awesome.
So appreciate your patience with that too, Chase. So
no, dude, the grind is where it's at. I'm still like just doing. I've got some help. The guys that are doing my content are some of the best, best friends in the world. Nice, they believed in me from the beginning. Corey Miller, Lucas Hathaway.
Shouts
and
Robbie, team, man.
Yes,
the squad, it's everything. Yes.
Robbie Stevens is probably the best photographer, videographer in Nashville.
Dude, your stuff is fire. It's always so
they're
fire.
so good,
yeah, they're
man.
Good, man.
They're good, bro.
Really good.
And they can take a vision and just freaking like
kill it.
Yeah. And even make it better.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like take what you were thinking would be like perfect and then just like, yo, let's go here with it.
I'm like, hey, this is kind of what I'm thinking. And they're like, oh, but what if blah, blah, blah. They think visually, whereas I think a lot in words.
I'm the same way.
Yeah.
All right. Tell us how you got to Nashville, man.
Yeah. So my grandparents, they didn't force me to go to college, but like, they were like,
they nudged you pretty good.
Yeah.
That solid grandparent nudge. Yeah. I think we all know how that can work.
Yeah. So my grandfather is really interesting. My papaw. I call him I've always called him papaw. I've said granddaddy and grandfather and all these things. Papaw is what I've always called my papaw.
Is that the one that was?
It's my dad's dad. Yeah. Take me to church.
Yeah. Okay.
So he's probably the most interesting man ever.
Awesome.
He's done about 1,000 different things. He was a barber. He was the chief of police for a while. He was a school teacher, and then he became a college professor. He has a PhD in philosophy.
Wow.
He was also.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
He was also
a pastor. Not done.
Yeah.
I remember this now.
Yeah. And he was also a pastor of a Church of God church. So growing up, I had access to just this library of books.
Sick.
And they were like philosophy books. They were theology books. They were science books.
Yeah.
And so I had a bit of a head start in like the critical thinking area of like literature.
Yeah.
Like, he had like Plato, he had Socrates, he had Thomas Mer. I mean, just
that was one of my favorite classes in college was philosophy.
Yeah, dude.
It was so hard. I did terrible in it, but I'm like, dude, this is so cool.
I kind of felt like I cheated because everything dude, I had read so many of those books already. And also I already had like his cliff notes on it.
Oh yeah. Because so like notes from a professor.
Yeah. He would talk for you ask him like, hey, what was like this like in Rome? And he could go on for an hour and a half.
Dude, that's so cool.
He knew everything because what he does. So the way I feel about music, he feels about books. He goes to Burger King in our hometown, a little bit hometown, goes to Burger King every day and he reads for like 6 hours, maybe more, 6-7 hours.
That's a solid life, man.
Yeah.
Nah, I'm not even mad.
Lots of visits to the chiropractor.
Yeah. Those boosts are probably something.
But yeah, man, he's just a book guy and just so smart.
Yeah.
And so for a long time I thought maybe that I would go into that. I thought, maybe I would, I really did enjoy these books. It was like, because when he first gave them to me, I was like 13. I felt like I was Harry Potter, dude. Like I felt like Hagrid came in and told me I was a wizard. Like, what do you mean? There's this whole world out there,
right?
Man,
thank God though, man. Shouts to Papa, man.
Yeah, him and my mama, they like collectively they put all the pieces there. You know what I mean? Like now, like I'm old enough to refine those things, but they placed unconditional love and curiosity.
Man, it's everything.
You put those two things in a kid's life,
you're gonna be all right.
He can survive.
Yeah, that's real, man.
before that, I didn't really have the foundation for those things.
Right.
But they were so intentional about it. Unconditional love and curiosity and consistency.
Boom.
That was it, man. Like, you go to Mama and Papa's house. I was just talking to my little brother about this last night. You go to Mama's house, you're safe.
Man.
You go to Mama and Papa's house, there's no fighting, there's no drugs, there's no violence, there's no chaos.
Yeah.
It's security. And you just feel safe. You could sleep in till noon and you wake up and there's not an earthquake. There's not, you know what I mean? Just like you didn't have to be like, I don't know. I guess sometimes growing up, I felt like my body was like it was constantly on a 911 call. You know what I mean? Just like emergency, like save this, protect this. This person's going to, whatever. And you didn't have to feel like that at my mom's house.
Yeah.
And so I just felt such a connection to them because they changed everything.
Yeah.
And also I felt like I owed them my life because they showed me the difference. They showed me the difference in the two worlds. And, I thought for a while I would chase this philosophy thing. And I went to college but he was also like, don't get a degree in philosophy. Well, I don't know what you want me to do. You want me to go to school. You want me to do something I love, but you don't want me to do philosophy. So I studied psychology because
next best thing.
Kinda, and also I was very sick. I was very sick. So it wasn't, I was in college for 2 months when my dad passed. And, we talked about this a lot, that he, was ready to give up a fight that he had fought for 17 years. He just, he felt like he couldn't win. And when you're from a super small town, you haven't seen the world, you go to a public university, not too far from home, but still in the city. And, you have a loss like that within the first couple months, and you're on your own. I didn't have any friends there. I had one friend, and this is the guy that saved my life. But other than that, I was just like weight training, doing sports, and that was it. And so I
was
just
Louisville, right?
This was Louisville, yeah. I went to U of L. And also that was where he passed. So the last time I saw him, this is crazy story. Won't go into all of it, but I had so much anger, so much pain and hatred, and to see that he did that to himself, I was so mad, and I didn't let it go. And the last time that I saw him, he had all of these, things hooked up to him, and he couldn't breathe on his own. And they told us that, this will be the last time that we get to see him. And I left that day just feeling mad, just mad. And I didn't let the grief hit me until later. But when it did, it hit me like a train, and I didn't have anybody to talk to about it because I didn't know anybody that had like a precedence with it. And therapy, counseling, all that was like, that was foreign. I knew people went to therapy, but I thought, only if you were like really messed up. And I didn't think grief was like a qualifying.
Isn't that wild?
It was just such a different culture. Man. So I let it eat me alive until it really almost killed me.
Jeez.
I got so sick that I was in a constant state of panic. It wasn't a single anxiety attack. It wasn't, multiple anxiety attacks. It was, I woke up in a state of anxiety. I went to sleep in a state of anxiety so much that it felt like I was on drugs.
Man.
Like I couldn't, I had depersonalization, derealization issues, and everything felt like a dream. And my heart was constantly around 160 to 180 beats a minute. So much stress physiologically. And I didn't have the tools or the knowledge of, how to just breathe.
Man.
And so I just thought I was going crazy because at this point it had been about a year since he'd passed. And I didn't put the pieces together that this pain, this darkness was, a lot of it were memories.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And that's something that I'm realizing a lot now is, you know, when those things come up, I'm like, okay, what am I remembering right now? What's in my subconscious that's telling me it needs attention?
Yeah.
You know, back then I had no clue.
Right.
That's what that was. It was just like, oh, I'm dying, or I need to die to not feel like this.
Jeez.
And yeah, man. What was the original question? How did we
How'd
get
you
here?
get to
How did you get to
Nashville, man? Nah, but I mean that's important,
crazy.
bro.
Yeah,
That's
I don't know
important.
how we got there.
There's no skipping around. Like,
so
I mean, that's
okay,
cool.
that's so to your point. So while that was going on
In Louisville,
yep, I had a mental breakdown.
Yeah.
I stopped going to class. I was an AB student and I was failing everything.
Yeah.
And I couldn't focus when I was in class. I put C for every answer for the test. I would go just long enough to take it and run out. I went home to my grandparents, and because I got a call from a buddy one day. I pulled in the parking lot of my apartment complex, and I just felt like it was the last day. I really did just feel like it was the last day. And that happened a couple times over the course of this journey. But he said, hey, man, I just out of the blue. And this wasn't somebody that I talked to a lot. Like, this was somebody that called me randomly out of the blue, said, hey, man, I got a weird feeling that you need to go home. And I was like, what are you talking about? He was like, you need to go home and see my mom and papa. He's like, I don't know what's going on with you. I don't know if you're okay. I had something tell me that you need to go home.
Man.
And he didn't know that, but I had a plan. And the plan was that night. And I took his advice instead and went home. And I remember sitting on the recliner in my mom and papa's house and just completely catatonic because my mind was just shot, just so tired. And I stayed there and I would drive back and forth to Louisville, hour and a half every day to either go to class or take a test or whatever. And the whole way I had on repeat that Danny Goki song, There's Hope in Front of Me. And so over time, I listened to that probably 100,000 times. I mean, just for an entire semester. And I realized then that music was the only thing that could alleviate my existence, that could alleviate the pain for just get me out of my head for a millisecond long enough to take a breath.
Wow.
And you know, because at the time I didn't, even though it was because of my own ignorance, you know, and I mean ignorance in like a compassionate way.
Yeah.
I didn't have access to therapy. I didn't have access to medicine. I didn't have access to anything because I hadn't told anybody that I was struggling. So music was it. That's all I had. And so I started, you know, reconnecting to my guitar. I started reconnecting to writing songs. And I realized that was the only thing that could fix it.
Man.
And I did it. I got to where I just did it obsessively. And to where, you know, school didn't matter anymore. My grades didn't matter. Didn't matter if I graduated. And the day of my graduation, I took off to Nashville.
Man, you made it though.
You
graduated.
I did. I graduated. Yep.
I'll insert some applause.
So, yeah, there we go. I did.
Nah, but for real, man.
Yeah.
Congrats. That's a hell of an accomplishment at that point.
Yeah, it took everything.
Man.
But yeah, I drove down to Nashville literally the day of my graduation. Took all my stuff.
Hang on, what time frame? Like,
oh, it's probably 6 p.m. My graduation was like noon.
Okay, so noon graduation. Yeah, walk across the stage, and you're on the road to Nashville.
Yep. I had the U-Haul packs and everything by then.
That's awesome.
And yeah, I think I slept in my car for like maybe 3 or 4 days, and then a friend of mine who was in the music industry let me crash on his couch for a couple of weeks. So I found a place.
Yeah.
And he ended up being a really important figure in my life and teaching me a lot of things that I need to know. But yeah, I think like everything in my life, what led me to Nashville was that connection to music.
Man,
you know, it was music has been there multidimensionally in so many ways from the time that I could walk.
Yeah. It's like
now,
your savior. I mean, it's like your saving grace, man.
It is. It is, man.
Dude.
And so the love that I have for it when I speak about it,
and
when I speak about these artists that mean something to me, and when I speak about the people that care about my music.
Yeah, dude. Oh man,
it's profound.
I can't imagine. Bro.
Profound.
I can't imagine. You made me cry, dude.
Yeah.
Damn, that is incredible. So you got to Nashville. You're living in. You're crashing with your buddy. He's showing you around, inviting you around. What's going on? Or like, just let's get to. Because you haven't been here that long, right?
No, yeah. No.
How long have you been here?
I've been here 6 years now. 6.5, 7 years.
All right.
Yeah, it's. I became. I've learned a lot down here.
Yeah,
at that time, the guy Wayne Hahn was his name. Like he ended up being like a father figure to me.
Nice.
He wanted to put together a country group, and he was pretty famous in like the Christian world, like Christian music.
Yeah.
And so he was actually how I met Danny Goki at the BMI Awards that one time.
Oh yeah.
Was
Spoiler.
because he had won. So the guy I'm talking about, he had actually won a BMI award.
Yeah.
And so I was attending with him.
That's right.
And so he had been very successful and had a lot of #1 songs, the Christian scene, and but he wanted to put together a country group. He said that he grew up listening to Oak Ridge Boys, and he likes my low voice, and he thought that we could put a group together around that.
That's sick.
So that's what we did for a while. We tried it. We tried it. And I love those guys like my brothers to this day.
Yeah.
And we had a great time. We toured a lot of places. Got to see Europe with them.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice, man.
We played the Alaska State Fair together.
That's tough.
But it was hard to make a modern sound.
Yeah.
With the Oak Ridge Boys vibe.
Yeah.
So and I always creatively, personally had been, just more like on the modern side of that. And I grew up listening to classic country music. And I grew up listening to the Oak Ridge Boys even. But Oak Ridge Boys were even before that. I grew up, started listening to music. Like my heroes were Tim McGraw, Kenny Chesney, even Keith Whitley. Like if you want to go way back, Johnny Cash, Josh Turner. So a lot of those still, I think people today would consider classic country, even though it was early 90s, even late 80s. Right. That was my radio, growing up. Actually, one of the first connections with like commercial country music that I had, I was in kindergarten, and I was riding the bus, and I sat in the back of the bus where all the cool kids sit.
Yeah, of course.
I had like a cousin back there or whatever. Causing trouble. And they were like, "Hey Chase, come on to the back. We want to show you something." I was like, "Cool, first day of school, whatever. I'll learn some stuff." And nothing good happens in the back of the bus, man. Nothing good. And they were like, "We want to show you some sign language." I was like,
"Oh boy,
all right, cool. Like I'm about to learn all kinds of stuff today. Just learned how to write my name. I'm about to learn some sign language. Maybe I'll learn how to sign it too, whatever." And they started taking my hand, putting one finger down at a time, and they were like, "So, one finger was standing, middle finger, and they were like, 'Hey, this means great job.'"
Oh my gosh, dude.
And they were high school, just having a great time, and using me as the pawn.
Oh yeah.
And they were like, "You should go tell the bus driver he's doing a great job driving the bus, and he's gonna be super stoked on your sign language." Wow, he's gonna be like, "Dude, this kid's so smart." And so I went up, like just so proud.
Yeah.
And I was
great job.
Yeah, I was like flipped all the bus driver as hard as I could, told him great job. And I got to sit beside him the rest of the year. So he placed me right up the front with him.
That's hilarious.
And I had to sit literally to the right of him for the entire school year. But his favorite music was classic country music.
Nice.
So that's where I, first heard "Don't Take the Girl."
There you go.
First heard
blessings in disguise,
yeah, man. I mean,
blessings in disguise.
So just
that's hilarious.
Yeah, it's
really messed up. Those kids should be ashamed of themselves. But
no, for sure, man.
We're
but
kids. I mean,
the shit you see and do just growing up in a small town.
Oh
like
yeah,
that,
man.
Dude.
We all had those moments where you're like, man, that was not cool, man.
Yeah, I know, right?
I'm a kid.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know any better.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Man, dude, I love this. So so Oak Ridge Boys remake didn't quite take off.
Yeah.
What happens next?
Man, it actually what do you call that? The dissolve of that group crushed me. Because I never had the confidence that I could be a solo artist. Something in me was just like, you know, you're not cut out for this. You're not a good enough singer. You're not handsome enough. Whatever, the list goes on of things that you feel like you need to be in order to do that. And so I thought my only shot to sing music and connect with people like I craved was to be surrounded by people who are better than me. Yeah. And so I let that beat me up for months, but the whole time that I was in the group, I was writing songs that I loved. I was writing songs for me, not because I wanted to put them out someday, or not that I knew that I would put them out, but because I needed the therapy of writing songs for myself.
Beautiful. That's awesome.
And so even by the time the group had broken up, I had 100 songs or more that I had written by myself for me.
Yeah.
Not knowing that I would use them.
Yeah. Like strictly therapeutic.
Not knowing that they would ever be used someday. And so a few of my best friends now that help with my content, help, manage me and everything like that. They were like, Chase, what are you going to do now? What do you want to do? And I was like, I want to do this, but I just don't see a way that it could work. And they were like, well, why don't you come by and play us some songs? Like we think you're an awesome songwriter. We'd love to just hear what you're doing.
Yeah.
And I played them, 4 or 5 songs, and they were just like, dude, you're good. Like,
toot your horn, bro. Toot your horn.
They were just like, dude, those songs.
Yeah.
And
that's awesome.
Can you?
Bro. That's sick.
Yeah.
That's so awesome.
And so for the first time in my life, I felt like someone believed in me on my own. You know what I mean? Like to do this by myself, which was terrifying.
Yeah.
It still scares me to death.
Chase, you're that dude, man. You're that dude. Hey, live it, man. You are that dude.
I appreciate it, man.
Straight up and down. You're that dude.
I'm trying so hard to I'm just taking the steps as they come. Hey, I'm taking the step. Step shows up and be like, all right, I'm scared, but I'm gonna take another one.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, they were the first ones to be like, dude, like this is good.
Yeah.
Let's do something with this. Like we'll help you. We'll make your, pictures look so good. Like we'll do all, whatever you need. Like cool? Just tell us.
That's Nashville, isn't it?
Yeah, man. And these were guys that I trusted.
Yeah.
These were guys that they weren't asking for anything.
Right.
They weren't like, hey man, like, it was nothing, never anything shady about it. These were guys that I would eat Chewies with, on Saturday.
Yeah, for sure.
And
that's dope, man. That's so cool.
Yeah, man. So yeah, Midtown Motion is the name of their company. But Lucas Hathaway, Corey Miller, and Robbie Stevens are not only some of the most talented people in what they do, they're just good humans.
That's man.
And my adult life now is just, please find me some good humans, to be around. Because I've been trying my whole life to be one.
Yeah.
And, if I'm going to try this hard, it would help if I had a few around me.
Come on.
And so I just feel so fortunate and so blessed to have that in my life, because they pour into me, they encourage me. Like if I have a problem, I bring it to them like they're friends about it.
Yeah.
It's not like, oh dude, like what are you crying about? Like what are you whining about? You have it so good in this life. Like what are you like? Yeah, like on the outside things are better than they've ever been. That doesn't mean I can't have a bad day.
1,000%.
And so it's just so nice to have people like that, because I've discovered, that wow, the career can be taken off, incredible things can be happening. The world inside my head is an entirely different world than the one out here.
Yeah.
I could be having the worst day out here and have the best day in my mind, and have the best day out here and the worst day in my mind.
Yeah.
It's
not interchangeable.
Yeah.
It's really not.
So having that is just, you have to have it if you want to do this. You have to have it. It's such an up and down lifestyle.
My gosh, I can't imagine, dude.
Yeah, the rejection that you face just on a weekly basis is just crazy. And not even just rejection, but just like music is subjective. So there's just always somebody online that tells you not to wear skinny jeans anymore. And that can hurt your feelings. You know what I mean? So yeah, man, it's been awesome. What was the original question again? I feel
hey, we're just wild, or we're freestyling here, man. We've covered a lot, man, and I think that's really cool. Just all of it, man. Like you're really living it, and it's cool how you celebrate your team. It's cool how you acknowledge your struggles, man. Like this is what people need more of. You know, you can have that pretty lifestyle, quote unquote, and just be ripped up inside and not talk about it.
Yeah.
And that's how bad things happen. So, and honestly, not even close to a similar level probably, but there's a lot of that stuff in this crazy world, like with like producing anything or trying to build something of your own. It's just a grind. If you like, I definitely feel your struggle, and surrounding yourself with people that get it. I mean, there's nothing better than when you find part of your tribe and you're like, you're not going anywhere. like I'm gonna like whatever I can do to help you, and like we're on the same team. Like let's go build something. So
100%.
Salute to your squad, man. Salute to you for, I mean, you're doing it, man. And I know I can, like, you're a super humble dude, and you're super hard on yourself. Again, coming from someone who knows that to a certain degree. I know most people are hard on themselves, but and social media, man, it's the biggest crap I always call Charlemagne, man. Charlemagne's like, social media is gonna be the death of all of us if we let it be. But he's always talking about like, I just don't let it bother me at all. But his whole take on, if you ever need a mental health check-in, check out Charlemagne's take on all things social media. He's a very wise dude.
I've heard that name. Who's Charlemagne?
He's Breakfast Club. He's been known. He's a radio personality.
Yeah.
Bald black dude.
Yeah.
He's awesome.
Rap guy. Yeah, hip hop guy. Right?
Yeah. But he'll roast people, and he'll put them in their place, and it's usually super on point. Like he's just like anyway.
No, dude, I check out like the freestyles and stuff on that. That's where I'm
on the Breakfast Club. Shouts to Charlotte, man. He's like the or sometimes he can rub you the wrong way at times, but man, he's a super sharp. Like he's just smart in his perspectives on things.
Sure.
Man, shouts to him. But anyway, I always, when I go to social media, or if I ever have any inkling of social media discomfort, I think of what he says, and he's just like, don't do it, man. You don't know these people, blah blah blah. Like,
well, he doesn't let people be fake either.
No, on the show. And that's real, man. I've always
he'll straight comfort people on the show.
Oh yeah, it's quite entertaining. They have him and Andrew Schultz have a podcast called Brilliant Idiots.
I freaking love Andrew Schultz, man.
Please,
he's my
go
guy.
Listen to Brilliant Idiots. It's in rotation every week. Like I look forward to them dropping episodes every week. It's that's so awesome. Good, especially when they're both there. You know, sometimes they miss each other, but anyway, man, dude, so you're still killing it. Obviously, you got a hell of a team around you now. You got, let's get into some of these latest and greatest, bro. Like you're like off mic, we were talking about some big things. I'm like, dude, salute to you. So what was like the first break, I guess? Well, technically, maybe second. The TikTok stuff.
I mean, I can't go into like everything, but just because there's some things like waiting to be done. And also I don't want to be the guy that like, celebrates before the touchdown. He gets to the end zone and then he fumbles the ball. Mm-hmm. So the first thing I guess was, Relapse was just bigger than my wildest dreams as far as like a first release.
First release. I looked at it earlier. It was like 875,000.
On
Spotify.
On Spotify, dude.
Man, that's huge.
And the amount of like following that I got from that, because
was that wild.
Dude, it started out like it didn't start out anywhere on the charts, and then it like climbed to like the top 150, and I was like, oh wow, holy crap, that's crazy. And then it climbed to the top 100, and I was like, holy crap. Then it climbed to like the top 40, and I was like, oh my god, like
I would die, dude.
yeah. And this was like weeks that it stayed there, and I was like, wow, like people are listening to this song, and they're like connecting with it. And
it's a great song.
Thanks, man. Appreciate that. Yeah, dude. And dude, that was just a song that I literally like. I wrote that by myself, like in my room after just a shitty relationship.
Yeah,
just like the worst, the worst relationship. And so all my sorry,
you're
good. Breathed in a dust particle.
You're good, man.
All my buddies that would joke with me. Man, sorry, this is like really stuck. We need Dr. Pepper.
Hey.
Dr. Pepper chug here.
Yeah, there you go. Dude, that's funny. And thinking of the song, I'm like, oh, I could, see where this.
Yeah,
is
all my buddies, because like I would leave the house late at night. They knew where I was going.
Yeah,
and my old roommate, Mikey, who is the tour manager for Dan and Shay.
Oh wow.
You going to Relapse, aren't you? And I was like, oh god, yeah. And he said that every time, and so like. I'd leave the house. He's like, "You going to Relapse?"
To him, bro.
Yeah, dude. And it's I hated it at the time.
Bars
I was pissed.
I bet.
I was so mad because he would say that, and I'm like, "God, he's calling me out.
Oh,
he's calling me out.
He's not wrong though.
Yeah,
and you knew it.
Yeah,
that's probably the worst part. Yeah, sorry.
But yeah, for a while, like definitely, like my my thorn that I was struggling with was like just chasing like love that was like up here and then down here and then up here and then down here, because like that felt right. It felt normal. Like that was like what I saw, you know, growing up. So that was like a major issue for a while. It's just like learning to like be like, no, I want something that's like this.
Yeah.
Like, and if it's not like this, like I can't do that. Like, especially
thing.
like, and I think actually that's what held me back from doing what I'm doing now.
Right.
A lot was because I was so caught up in my relationships,
draining, man. That'll kill you.
And not even relationship, but friendships too, man. Like just not choosing the best people to be around. And then constantly being on this roller coaster of up and down, because I just didn't have any boundaries for the people in my life. And, you know, now I think I'm able to be a good man because I have those boundaries.
Good.
You know what I mean? Like it was so hard to be the consistent man that I want to be when you're just constantly being thrown up and down by the people in your life, man. And I wanted so bad to be that steady, like, you know, like chill, like cowboy, like kind of personality, kind of attitude. But like, man, when you're constantly being thrown up the rocks by chaos in your life, like, dude, you're just being thrown. And so, you know, now I kind of like chuckle myself sometimes, because like I'll find myself just like being so chill, and people are like, dude, he's chill, he's mellow. And I'm like, that's nice, that's awesome.
Yeah,
like,
don't need to be going getting all crazy.
I don't need that anymore.
Yep.
So
Relapse.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
that's so applicable.
Yeah, man.
That's
so. I just got that.
Really there.
I just got that little earworm in my head. I just think I'm gonna relapse. Said I'd never be back.
Yeah.
And then I remember played the chorus on my guitar, and for the guys that I'm with now, and they're like, "Yeah, dude, you gotta finish that song. Like your job this week is to finish that song."
Hell yeah.
And just got in my room.
So sick, man.
Yeah. And then so my producer Jerry Jacobs, who is also one of the best people in my life.
Yeah.
And, you know, if I could imagine me, like, you know, looking up to God, a universe, whatever, and saying, hey, please send me somebody that can, you know, that is a good person in my life and also wants this like I do and feels it like I do. It was Jerry Jacobs.
Shouts to him.
Man, he is
all double J over there.
No joke, dude. He is sick, man, dude.
That's
like
so
his ability to like make something, like take my visions. Like, I mean, because he has that musical training that's like, oh, I know what you mean. Because I can be like, hey man, it needs to do this, like blah blah. I'm using like very spiritual language because I connect to music in like a spiritual way. But I think he does too.
Yeah.
I think he does both.
I'm pretty sure.
Because he also connects to it in a mathematical way where he's like,
nice.
oh, it needs this then. It needs this.
Oh,
a banjo would be cool here, or a bass drum would be really cool here. And I'm starting to get that now.
Yeah.
But before that experience, I wasn't able to do that.
There's a science to it.
Yeah, man.
Like, and science, math, and
dude. And watching him, man, is just incredible. And now us being in the same room and just going back and forth off each other, dude. It's he's just one of the best people in the world. And to be as talented as he is, he's just a freaking bonus. But
yeah.
Man, he's brought all my songs to life. He brought Relapse to life, and helped me bring that vision, into place. And some of the other songs that I got out now, man, he's brilliant. And I stand by that. But yeah, man,
would that be the craziest thing for someone to just like sit there? Like, I won't say a word.
Yeah.
Is that impossible? I'm throwing it out there. I live for that stuff. Just like, I love watching the creative process go back and forth. It's one of my favorite things in the world.
Yeah, man.
If there's ever an opportunity, man, I'm all the way down.
All right, come on.
I know that might be weird, but
no,
I'm gonna throw it
come
out
on.
There. Yeah. All right. So we got Relapse. Breakup in a small town.
Big city, small town.
Big city, small town.
Big city, small town.
Okay.
Yeah.
And now,
Better in a Glass. Was
the
last
so
yes.
Cheers to this.
Cheers.
I know.
Cheers, Better in a Glass.
Yes, and that's some good stuff, dude. I fully agree. Talk to me about that song and the process, because I remember an Instagram post I saw. I was like, oh, that's so true. I just remember if anybody's like that hard on the other side, there's probably something a little weird. But.
Right. Yeah.
Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, I knew
Better in a Glass.
Better in a Glass, man.
That's why these are here, guys.
You got to think. Like,
and one more thing real quick. Shouts to Cedar Glade Brews. Cedar Glade's next door here in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. Best new brewery in town. Some of the best beer in the world. So that's what we're sipping on. Shouts to the Cedar Glade fam. Thank you. Chase, man. Appreciate you.
Let's go.
All right.
I'm an air machine right now between the Dr. Pepper and the beer over here.
Yeah, let's get it.
But yeah, man, Better in a Glass was one of those things. We wanted to do like a summer song because we had, the first two were, kind of like in a darker place, let's be honest.
Mm-hmm.
And like, okay, like third song out, let's do something happy and nostalgic and obviously country. And so, something that I had just had several people in my life, I feel like, that would like exclusively drink beer out of a glass or bottle.
Yeah.
And swear by it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like my best friend in college, like he would only, first off, he would only drink like Guinness or Sam Adams. But he would only do it in a glass or bottle, dude. That's and funny. people swear by that, man. And and I think it was easy to write in some ways because it's true.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
All good.
Like there's no way you could write that the other way around. Like I thought about it a million times. And
exactly.
Yeah, dude, like what are you gonna say about aluminum?
Yeah,
like
it tastes so much better.
Yeah, like you just can't go there. So I mean, this glass bottle is kind of where it's at for everybody. So we were just like, how could we say that? And I was like, I had this idea of all the ways that like it's kind of been around your life. And why the memories of that makes it better, like the connections, because everything that I write has to be about connections somehow, making a connection. And so, all I really had at the time was like this little, chorus vibe. And I said something, about like the church stained window pane where you prayed at. That's why beer tastes better in a glass.
That's so good.
And so, it is my favorite line. I'll be honest, it's my favorite one. If I had to pick a line, it's always nice. Like when you were the one with the line, you're like,
yeah, I did that.
So it's just several things, like the tinted up first truck you were driving, like all those things were like country things, obviously country, that were relatable to shit I did growing up or things that I was around. And are also true. Like, oh, there's the connection. Because I think a lot of people, like, first time you hear that idea, you're like, oh, that's weird. That's silly.
Yeah.
But then you hear the song.
People that get it. I was like, nah. That's spot on. There's nothing inaccurate about that.
Yeah. And I think it might have been the way that like I posted the video that I was like, got this idea, like, tinted up truck I was driving, like, blah, blah, blah. But then when you hear the final product, you're like, oh, obviously. Yeah, right? That makes sense. And
like a cold mug. Come on, man.
Come on, cold dude. Mug. I swear it's that. Beat that. I think when
it's like frozen a little at the top.
Yeah. I think everything tastes better in a glass, man.
Facts, dude.
I remember like growing up, you throw something in a mug like that, or even in a bottle, dude. Like we had a drink called Ski in my hometown. and it was bottled in my hometown.
Okay.
And like that was all my hometown had. Like that was it. Like
the ski
factory and a McDonald's. Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy.
We had to go to Walmart a town over.
Okay.
So no grocery stores, no nothing.
Wow.
So we had the ski factory, but I mean even that, like you drink it out of the bottle. Like you buy the glass.
Yeah.
Is it
not even plastic?
Oh, dude, no. Absolutely not in plastic. But yeah, man, that was like the way to do it. So I was like, okay, this makes sense. People are going to relate to it, and it's it's relatable. So let's do it. Let's put it out,
dude.
Yeah.
Can you speak about any of the? Can we?
So since the song came out,
yeah. Okay.
We have had just the amazing opportunity to work with Gary V's company, VaynerMedia.
It doesn't get bigger than that. In my
man.
It really doesn't.
Yeah.
I mean, that's goals in every capacity.
Yeah.
VaynerMedia approaches you.
Yeah.
Right.
Man, they did. So they found me on TikTok. So yeah. So they have a music department of their company, and Mike Boyd, who is a friend of mine now, was their A&R guy.
Okay.
And was like, yo, this is dope. Let's do something. So cool. You know what I mean? So
hang on, let me take it back real quick. All right, real quick, just selfishly, I need to know. So like, how did Mike call you, or like did you get an email? Like what was I need to know details on this. Like
he called me, dude.
He called you. So
he called
Mike
me.
Boyd, I'm with VaynerMedia.
Yeah,
like,
he called
that's
me.
what he said.
Yeah, basically.
And you didn't know him
No, dude. I followed Gary V for years.
So you knew Mike was with?
I didn't know Mike.
Okay,
I didn't know Mike.
Yeah. Okay,
but when he said that, and then I looked him up on Instagram, I was like, oh, he's legit.
Yeah,
because Gary followed him.
Yeah.
And so did Post Malone, and like I was like, oh, okay.
Dude, that's so crazy.
Yeah,
that's so crazy.
And he was like, yo, we think this is dope. We think you got something really special here. We want to put you as the cover artist on our playlist. And like the Gary V playlist, like Monday to Monday.
Yeah, I followed that
they
for
put
years,
me.
Dude.
Yeah, dude. Cool. And like, so I was the first country artist, as far as I'm aware, to be on their playlist. First country guy they worked with.
He's a big hip hop guy.
I would say they almost, I think they exclusively work with hip hop.
Yeah.
So the fact that they like chose me, reached out to me, thought that I got a bright future career ahead of me.
That's so.
It's pretty
goosebumps.
Yeah, man.
So sick.
Dude, they're awesome, man. They're so nice too, man.
Are they are they amazing to work with?
No, they really are.
Yeah,
they really.
That's what I would expect.
They're really sick.
I mean, if it was like a bad story, I'd be so disappointed. But
no, man. I asked them questions about Gary too, and they were like, "Yo, we can get you dinner with Gary like anytime. Like we can like get you on a phone call, whatever you need."
Because he's like that.
He's like, "Oh,
dude. Chase, what's up, man?"
Yeah, that'll make my day.
Yeah,
just
big
like
fan.
get a random call from Gary someday in his voice.
And they're down in Chattanooga, right? They got a division or something down there.
I want to say he's in New York.
Well, I mean, they have a VaynerMedia.
Oh, really?
In Chattanooga, I think.
I don't know.
I didn't. I thought it might be the Nashville.
I know he's everywhere.
Oh yeah.
So we got some more stuff that I'm working on.
Dude, that's so
with them, and
Congrats,
I don't think I can say nothing about it yet. But yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah,
spoilers, man. Maybe a follow up.
Yeah, man.
Episode.
But it's dope. I mean, it's killing me not to say something right now, man.
Bro, that's so cool.
Yeah. So this I gotta say, this beer does taste better in a bottle, or in glass, anything with glass. And saying that is the best decision I ever made. I'll just say that. Making that proclamation has been really good to me.
Stating facts has really panned out well.
Just speak the truth, dude. That's all you gotta do.
Man, isn't that, dude? That's so good. Man, congrats, dude. That's just so cool. Thanks. All right. So what's on deck? I know you can't speak on that, but what else you got on deck?
Yeah. So we will have a lot more music coming out this year. Sick. I mean, dude, I get literally hate mail now because like people are like, when's this song coming out? Like, you gotta be kidding me. You teased this song 3 months ago and it's still not out. Couple of them now.
Don't rush greatness, people. That's another moral of the story.
What's hard too is like I post the demo.
Yeah.
And people think it's done. Like, well, why don't you just release it? And I'm like, bro, this is a vocal, like an auto-tuned vocal that was done on a computer. Like, and I get it, like, because if I was, before I did the whole thing, I would have thought, it's done too.
Yeah.
But like, there's so much to be done.
There's levels to this thing.
Yeah, like the demo's just like a vibe.
Yeah.
I think that's something that people don't understand, like there's months after a demo's done. So like, we got to go in.
We got times, right?
Sometimes,
for sure.
Got to go and put real instruments on it. I got to actually sing it right. You know what I mean? Like, cause when I'm doing a demo, I'm just like, like very quick, cause it's all about speed.
Yeah.
And you're doing a lot cheaper. Like,
right.
So, you go back in there and you sing it right. You put all the instruments on there. You get it professionally mixed and stuff. It takes money, takes time. So I got a couple songs out now I've posted on Facebook, that have went kind of viral. Nice. And, I haven't posted them anywhere else.
Nice.
I haven't posted them TikTok, on Instagram. I don't know why, but I'm just like
Facebook popping off more.
Facebook's been wild, dude. Facebook's where I've been sharing stuff. So,
that's interesting.
Yeah, man, I got a couple songs. One of them's called Project. I think we're gonna put it out late May. But I'm excited about it, man. I'm excited, dude. It's just the most different thing that I've done, and I feel like it's like very me to do that.
Hell yeah.
Got another song, Your Daughter, I think we're gonna call it, that comes out shortly after that. And
sounds awesome.
That was kind of the one that, like, I think started the avalanche of, like, shit popping off.
Yeah.
Because it was just so, like, unexpected of a hook. And
tease it? What's it about?
Yeah, man. I wrote it like that on purpose. But actually, if people watch this, because I assume some people will watch this after the song's out, or they've already heard it on Facebook, or whatever.
Shoot them links wherever you need to, man.
Yeah, man. So if you want to follow me at Chase McDaniel Music on everything,
yeah, we'll do that there too. For sure.
But no, there's some clips on Facebook of the demo. But basically, I wrote this song as if it was from the perspective of, like, a new boyfriend to an ex-boyfriend.
Ooh.
And it's talking about, I think the chorus is, this is to the guy who had her before me. I'm already messed it up already.
You're good. No.
This is to the guy who loved her before me, and all the lies that you let her believe. How could you run from somebody like her and break her down till she don't know what she's worth?
Ooh.
Because she's smart, she's pretty.
Again,
yeah, she's funny. Man, it's a pity. When you sober up, maybe you should call her. Sign, the man who loves your daughter.
Oh,
yeah.
Woo.
So, yeah.
Oh, okay. Bars again.
Thanks, man. Yeah, and it's not.
Damn, that's good.
I've told my team this, like, a bunch of times. It's not the best song in the world by any means, but to the right person, but to the right person, it might be the best song to them.
Yeah.
And
dude, that's really good.
Thanks, man.
And that's sick perspective. No, that's I love stuff like that, man.
Thanks, man. Yeah, it's definitely a plot twist.
Yeah.
And I kind of wrote it. Well, I did write it. Really. Of course, it's about a girl growing up with an alcoholic or drug addicted father, and how love now is so difficult because there's no template for good love. Yeah. There's only template for bad love. And I really wrote it, though, about my little sister. I was 18 when we lost our dad, but she was 7, 8. I can't do the math right now, but and she was just so important in my life. And I thought about all the time, and it just killed me inside how that void that I felt like she's gonna feel that from the time she's 7, you know what I mean, or 8 years old. Yeah. And what kind of dad could we have had if he were sober, so I wrote that song really as like a as something that maybe could heal her someday.
Wow, dude.
And it healed me in a lot of ways too, man. I want to be that good love. You know what I mean? Like thankfully having my mama and papa to show me what that was. It's just like a goal in my life to be that steady force of nature that just doesn't move.
That's real, bro.
That's grounded, that is unconditional, and just loves that. Man. And so that's what I'm working for. You know what I mean? I'm very far off. I'm in my 20s, bro. Like, I know I got a ways to go, but I obsess about this kind of stuff. That's huge. How can I be that?
That's huge. celebrate that, bro. That's nothing.
Thanks, man.
That's nothing to take lightly. I mean, to have that self-awareness at your age, bro, like that. Yeah, don't take that for granted. And I know it comes with a heavy price tag. You probably didn't sign up for that, obviously, but like it's when you experience the things you've experienced and you've overcome the things you've overcome, and now you have that like mission, bro. Like that mission, that fire.
Yeah,
dude. That's what the goats of the goats have. You know, like seriously, dude. Like that's when it's real. So. And the fact that freaking Gary Vee, I mean that I'm sorry,
it's wild.
No, it's you're cooking, bro. You're definitely cooking with gas, man. And it's an honor to know you, man. It's an honor to sit down with you. It's an honor to have these deep combos. And
first podcast I've done, bro. Like I mean like Nash Vegas was first.
Nash Vegas.
Shouts to Nash Vegas, and then spread the positive, man.
It's a little. We get a little more intimate, I guess, on the STP pod, man.
I like that.
The Nash Vegas is for the fans and for the people out there in Nash Vegas doing the Nash Vegas things. But man, I'm pumped for you, dude. And like I said, it's a pleasure to get to know you better. Anything we can do, I know y'all are blowing up and just want to be in your corner, man. Hit me up anytime. Know the mental health struggles, bro. Trust me. We've all got our demons that we deal with, and you're doing it, man. So that's a lot of pressure, and I know that it comes with a heavy price tag, but hey, that fire is undeniable, dude. It's the most like you can feel it from a mile away.
Man.
Go ahead and plug away. I know we've kind of covered it. Chase, go ahead. Chase McDaniel.
Yeah, everywhere. Man. Y'all can find me anywhere. It's Chase McDaniel Music. I'm on Instagram, Facebook, just Chase McDaniel. My personal page is where I've been posting a lot of stuff.
400K.
Just hit 400K today.
Dude, wow.
That's wild,
Congrats,
man. Thanks, man. Yeah.
Hey, we're going to toot some horns. It's time to toot a horn. We're going to toot a horn right now.
I mean, it does feel good, you know.
What are you at on TikTok? In TikTok,
50-something.
Okay.
50-something on TikTok.
All right, cool.
But like, I haven't been posting on TikTok.
Yeah.
Like, TikTok and Facebook have different algorithms. Like I feel like the Facebook thing, like,
you're cracking Facebook right now.
Facebook comes back.
Okay.
Like I feel like that's why I'm posting on Facebook and like testing this stuff.
Yeah.
Because Facebook algorithm, like you get those followers and they actually see the rest of your stuff.
Right.
What I found with TikTok is like you get one video blow up, your followers don't really see your stuff because everybody's on the For You page.
Yeah, TikTok seems super sketch.
Yeah, it's like, you know, I've seen people with millions of followers get 3,000 views on a video. So it's just like because everybody watched the For You page. It's a video by video basis, whereas Facebook is like more of like a following basis.
Yeah, that's fair.
And so I've just been testing everything out, and also I'm doing that because like I know the people on Facebook are like, you know, fans. They're connecting with the music, and they're there to actually see and care about me. Whereas like, you know, I'm not saying people on TikTok aren't doing that because I hope they are. That's my goal. But you know, if you only see one video and you don't see the rest of it, you know, I'm there. I want to build that long-term relationship. So, and that's what I value in the music that I'm making. So, but yeah, sorry. You can find me on Facebook, TikTok, Chase McDaniel Music, Instagram, Chase McDaniel Music, YouTube, Chase McDaniel Music. I'm on Spotify, Apple Music, all the things. Yeah.
Stream it over and over and over and over. And go see shows. You got any shows coming up?
I got a show on May 14th at Live Oak.
Nice.
It is going to be insane, dude. It's gonna be awesome. I can't wait, dude. I can't wait.
I'll be there.
I can't wait, man.
What day of the week is that?
It's a Saturday night, actually.
Let's get it, man. Let's get it.
Yeah,
Nashville
man.
Saturday night.
Nashville Saturday night on the Maury in the middle of Midtown.
Woo,
I've got a killer lineup too.
Okay.
So there's gonna be live music from 8 to 12.
Okay.
I'm going on at 11.
Okay.
And we got a late night. Closing out the night, and dude, the people that we got lined up are going to be insane. So you just got to come out. I've been like a lot of people I've been writing with too, and I know their talent, I know their hearts, I know they're good people.
Hell yeah!
And so I'm excited, man, to have them out, and have people watch that too.
14th, people. This will definitely be out by then. It'll be out way before then. But hey, y'all come out if you're in Nashville, Middle Tennessee, man. Tickets, can you buy them or you just show up?
So yeah, they don't do tickets at Live Oak. Okay. You just show up, man. And I'm gonna be playing songs that people haven't heard yet. So the songs that are gonna be on the album, songs that are gonna be on the EP, that's what I'm gonna be playing. So it's this show is like a pre-release party for people who have heard some of these songs, or some of them you haven't heard at all. They're not available anywhere, and you're gonna be able to hear these songs that I'm so excited about. But man, thank you so much for asking the best questions.
Man, hey, that means a lot.
You give me the opportunity to share why I do what I do, and
why is everything.
You don't come by that
never,
often. So thank you.
Never forget that, man.
Yeah,
never forget that.
Absolutely.
Why, man. It'll never steer you wrong. Are you on a label? Are you?
I'm not.
Are you independent?
On a label. I'm independent, bro. Ooh. I mean, I'm 3 songs in. So
yeah, I mean.
I would. Maybe someday I would love to, find the people that I vibe with the best.
Is that in your circle, kind of? I mean, could y'all almost do it?
So
sorry, I know we're kind of wrapping up.
No, good. No, my thing is, man, is whatever I choose to do, because right now I'm able to achieve a really good relationship with my fans.
Yeah,
that's the most important thing to me. So I wouldn't want to. I would want to build the right relationship with the right team, with people I trust, with people that are as fired up about what I'm doing as I am.
Yeah.
And I think that's hard to find. That, it's like finding the right woman. It's a one kind of thing.
Yep.
And so, if I find that team, if I find that family, absolutely, let's go. Let's do some family stuff.
Yeah.
But I stress and worry about someone interfering more than more than aiding. So because I just hear so many scary stories of people getting on, and then they get to release 1 song a year, or and then out of sight out of mind kind of thing. And dude, I've got so many songs that I got to put out.
You can nowadays without. Man, you should be fine either way.
So
didn't mean to get.
No, dude, you're good. I just I'm a worker, and I just don't, I want people who are, also that see that and are, aren't there to slow me down, but they're to, help accelerate me and all those kinds of things. And I think that takes the right relationship, the right brotherhood, whatever, and the right fit. So if that ever comes along,
cool,
we'll see,
Until then, we're still rocking. Chase McDaniel, everybody.
Yeah.
I've said it once, I'll say it again. It's a pleasure, man. And
it's a pleasure,
Trent.
Thank you so much, man.
Pulling for you, the whole squad, man. May 14th, go out to Live Oak. It's going to be a great time. I can say that with utmost confidence. And yeah, man, y'all stay tuned for all his new singles, all the stuff he's doing. Check him out on Spotify, Apple Music, stream that stuff. Leave it on while you go somewhere. It don't matter. But Chase, man, I appreciate you. Appreciate what you represent, what you stand for, how you do things. It's a breath of fresh air in this town, man. You're one of the real ones. So y'all stay tuned, man. Big things coming from my guy Chase McDaniels, and we will be out. Appreciate you, bro.
Thank you so much, man. We didn't cry, as I just said.